Even Columbia, South Carolina, the record is 96. We're forecasting 94, and maybe you're tying a record here in Atlanta, 93 degrees. But that's a cool down from the 97 you had yesterday, another record.
Yeah, so you might be thinking, hey, we're going to Absolutely, and here's a look at some of the facts that we have associated with rip currents. I mean, over 30,000 rescues per year happen in the United States alone.
Yeah, and greatest threat was when those waves hit directly perpendicular to the beach.
All right, more Weekend Recharge next.
First 6-function multi-pro tailgate, available only on the next generation GMC Sierra. Step up to the ultimate tailgate and get over $10,000 total value on this next generation Sierra Crew Cab SLT, or get 18% below MSRP on these Sierra SLE Crew Cab and Double Cab models with a traditional tailgate. Tailgate like a pro. GMC.
Hi, I'm Johnny Bench. After a Hall of Fame career, it's no wonder I used Blue Emu. Blue Emu's non-greasy, deep penetrating formula gets down deep into those joints for big-time comfort and without any of that funky smell. Blue Emu, it works fast and you won't stink.
I'm Leah, and that's me. Long before I had moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis, I've always been the ringleader, had a zest for life. Flash forward, then RA kept me from the important things. And what my doctor said surprised me. She said my joint pain could mean permanent joint damage. And Enbrel helps relieve joint pain and helps stop that joint damage. Ask about Enbrel so you can get back to being your true self.
Enbrel may lower your ability to fight infections. Serious, sometimes fatal events, including infections, tuberculosis, lymphoma, other cancers, nervous system and blood disorders, and allergic reactions have occurred. Tell your doctor if you've been someplace where fungal infections are common, or if you're prone to infections, have cuts or sores, have had hepatitis B, have been treated for heart failure, or if you have persistent fever, bruising, bleeding, or paleness. Don't start Enbrel if you have an infection like the flu.
Visit Enbrel.com to see how your joint damage could progress.
Enbrel, FDA approved for over 20 years.
Men, it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, or what you do. You may have to deal with prostate issues. The ingredients in Super Beta Prostate help you support prostate health and reduce urges to urinate. It's a smart choice for all men.
Need life insurance? SelectQuote found Jacob, 40, a $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. And SelectQuote found his wife, Wendy, a $500,000 policy for only $17 a month.
Our secret? At SelectQuote, we aggressively comparison shop up to 10 highly rated companies to find you the company with the best rates. Why pay more? Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Ancestry provided me the opportunity to bring all these stories that I've heard to life. I wanted to keep digging, keep learning. This journey has just begun.
Bring your family history to life like never before. Get started for free at Ancestry.com.
This is nice.
Yeah, this is nice.
How did you make the dip so rich and creamy?
Oh, it's a Philadelphia.
Family recipe. Can I see it? No.
Philadelphia dips. So good, you'll take all the credit.
Well, it's the first weekend of fall, but it's getting upstaged by two other seasons. In the West, winter rules with cold and historic early season snow. Paul.
Well, meanwhile, in the eastern U.S., summer is firmly in control here with more than 250 record highs possible as we wrap up September and head into October. Back to Bostel.
Well, Paul, you know, in the middle of these extreme cases here, we've got a battle zone of storms. And I'll tell you where they can crash your weekend plans and outline the three biggest threats.
Plus, the first weekend of fall usually means a trip to a pumpkin patch with the kids.
But do families really want to pick pumpkins in summer-like heat? Find out how the freakish heat is affecting fall activities. It's all right here, right now on Weekend Recharge. Hello there, good Saturday morning to you and welcome to Weekend Recharge. I'm Paul Goodlow.
Sunday or Saturday?
Did I say Sunday?
I think you did. I'm Liana Brackett.
wishful
It's
thinking.
Saturday, right?
It's still
you
Saturday.
had me second guess myself for a second. I was like, wait, what day is today? It is Saturday. Well, and America's weekend depends on the weather. Even though the calendar says it's also fall, our thermometers tell a very different story. Summer refusing to leave.
Yeah, we almost have every single season in play today, this weekend across the nation. More than 160 million Americans in 27 states will sweat through highs at or above and sometimes way above 80 degrees. Storms with thunder, maybe even some tornadoes will pop up across the nation's heartland. And Old Man Winter, well, he's making a very early appearance in the western U.S. as the first winter storm of this season is taking shape. Liana?
All right, well, let's take a look at your Saturday snapshot. Overall, we have a couple of key players. Low pressure system out to the west, bringing in the snow, making it feel more like winter instead of the first day of fall, first weekend of fall. And then with low pressure system diving into the northeast. And that's where we do have that threat, that lingering threat of thunderstorms still lingering with us through this afternoon, and hot conditions dominate the southeast, bringing in the humidity as well. I mean, this right here, this just shows you everything. I mean, talk about that contrast with the temperatures, all that red, all that blue on either side of the country, and it's all telling you that we're seeing different seasons pretty much. Still feeling like summer across the southeast, temperatures in the 90s, whereas up in the northwest, temperatures well into the 50s and 60s, and even colder, Paul.
Yeah, that's the sound of hail and wind here. It's pretty wicked weather caught on camera in western New York. It happened just on Thursday. And things really heated up here in the city of Chile when a storm blew in, dropped some heavy rain and some hail along with some gusty winds. More thunderstorms in the forecast for your Saturday as yet another line of severe weather pushes in from the Midwest. Let's talk about this because there's a large portion of Pennsylvania and New York here zoned for thunderstorms, maybe perhaps strong and severe thunderstorms as we head on towards today. Then later tonight, pushing on to northern New Jersey and the New York City area as well. Right now on the radar, storms coming across the Ohio Valley and into West Virginia, but also more rain, which has been kind of a damp start to your day in Chicago this morning. But we've picked up a decent amount of rain across the Midwest, stretching into the southern Great Lakes. You see some of the yellows and oranges here. That's 3 to more than 5 inches of rain, and some of that just south of Chicago, some of that heaviest rain there. We do think we could probably get the baseball game in this afternoon, the Sox and the Cubs. Meanwhile, again, the active radar is still watching thunderstorms here heading on towards Charleston, West Virginia. And meanwhile, western Pennsylvania is seeing some scattered showers here. Yeah, the Pirates are playing this afternoon as well. So in terms of putting this in forecast mode, we'll see a relatively quiet morning across the I-95 corridor. Then towards lunchtime, a few more showers here in western New York. But we head towards mid-afternoon and watch the thunderstorms pop up again around Pittsburgh and also coming into the Albany, the capital district here in parts of New York. And we'll even see more thunderstorms. Then by perhaps dinner time, early show, or heading out this evening, we could see a line of storms blast not only through New York, Long Island, but also the Boston area could see some scattered showers. And Baltimore, D.C., maybe even Philadelphia could see some thunderstorms. Some of those could be on the strong and nasty side. The good news is they push out overnight and things are far quieter for your Sundays. Here's your Sunday forecast. Still warm in D.C., not the 90s you'll see today, but still upper 80s there. And we've gone down to the upper 70s in New York. But look at the interior. That's the taste of fall. 61 in Burlington, 62 in Bangor, Maine. Liana?
All right, stop what you're doing and look at this image right here. Talk about a triple threat. This is an amazing shot of lightning striking not just one, not just two, but 3 skyscrapers in Chicago last night. This snap from Barry Butler Photography. Besides the bright lightning, we also had reports of damaging winds, large hail all across the suburbs as well last night. John Hancock, one of the buildings impacted and struck by lightning, but they are built to withstand that kind of energy for sure. And we're going to be dealing with that fair share of energy still through this afternoon and evening. Take a look at the red. Possible severe storms up in the darker red, Kansas City, Wichita, you're embedded in that. But the threat does linger all the way down through Texas, Lubbock, Midlands, you're all included in that. Things are already firing up as this upper level low is starting to churn up across the northern parts of Florida. You can see a lot of moisture streaming up just ahead of that line, that main push. And we're going to see these little pockets of strong upper level winds that are going to help bring in that lift, potentially mix down to the surface, bringing us that strong wind and damaging wind threat. That's the real threat here, a wind and hail. With that said, we have a very moist environment, that dry line also interacting with that stationary front. We're going to see this whole zone as just engulfed in daytime heat, of course, as we get through the next several hours into the afternoon, with, of course, the hottest times of the day, 1 to 4 p.m. We also have this mid-level jet that's also going to help that supercell threat as well. So really, we're already starting to see these storms start to bubble up. I-40 is going to be in the main danger zone for several hours through 11 a.m. Central Time. And then everything shifts north. And of course, it's almost like clockwork. 2 p.m. Central Time, that's when we start seeing these storms fire up. Kansas City, you're going to be in the muck for much of this afternoon and evening. You might see the outer sides of the metro area engulfed in that dangerous threat, especially the southern part of the city through 1 a.m. But we still have these little pockets even extending well out west where you can still see the potential of wind and hail, and of course that little heavy rain that could potentially lead to flooding. So we're going to see this threat of thunderstorms through in Wichita through tonight, Sunday and Sunday night. We do have the drier times ahead, but we still have to deal with some wind, Paul.
Well, you mentioned flooding, and we see it time and time again. Floodwaters rush in so fast sometimes, so fast that drivers are really caught off guard. But floods in particular are one kind of road hazards you never want to test. Our Mark Elliott explains why.
We hear it again and again, and quite frankly, we're tired of telling you about it. Stories of people encountering dangerous floodwaters and then attempting to drive through them anyway, only to find themselves trapped, putting themselves and the first responders in danger. Some even drive around barriers thinking they can make it across. The force and power of water is always underestimated. That's why the barriers are there in the first place. Let's face it, more than half of all flood-related deaths happen when a vehicle is driven into dangerous floodwater. It only takes 6 inches of flowing water to knock a grown person off their feet. And it only takes 2 feet of moving water to float just about any vehicle, no matter how big you think that vehicle is. It'll go right down the road. So remember, approach flooded roads and intersections with caution. If you're in doubt, turn around, because the alternative just isn't worth it.
And we're just trying to get over the flooding we had in Texas from Imelda, but now the Midwest. We've had flooding earlier this year to start the year, and now we're seeing more flooding potential as we head on towards now late September and October, kind of late summer and early fall here. So there we go, the potential for flash flooding from areas of Kansas and even pushing through Missouri into Illinois and Iowa, even Indiana as well. And we also have the risk of severe weather, especially tomorrow, as our western system giving snow across the Rockies. Well, that starts to eject out towards the plains and bring a lot of energy and potentially some shear to give us that risk of tornadoes here across parts of the plain. So we're going to watch this low kind of dig south and push eastward and kind of energizing the jet stream. That potentially gives us the damaging winds to the surface, but also sets up shear. So winds are changing speed, sometimes even direction as you go through the column of the atmosphere. At the surface and close to the surface, streaming in Gulf of Mexico moisture. Yes, we can get it this far north this time of the year. We're seeing a big ridge in play, helping that moisture kind of being pushed all the way to the north. Not to mention our temperatures more like perhaps August than almost October here. So daytime heating, moisture in the air, upper level support, that gives us potential for strong severe thunderstorms and heavy rain. Look at this, a nice swath of 2 to 3 inches. Now, in any given day, it's not a big deal, but day after day, week after week, that causes saturated ground, and you have that type of rain, you're going to have more flooding across the region. And departure from average, our soil moisture is well above average because of the wet early season and even wet summer season we've had here. In contrast, you head in the Ohio Valley, it's dry, the soil is dry, so definitely are welcoming the rain. We don't want any more across parts of the northern plains at all, but that's in our forecast for today. That's in our forecast as you head on towards tomorrow. Maybe a few more breaks as you head on towards Monday. But bottom line is we don't have a string of dry days region-wide in our forecast for quite some time. So flooding is still a concern. But a different story across the southeast, Liana.
Yeah, not feeling like fall at all, Paul. We still have hot weather in store for Atlanta and Nashville. Pristine skies for sure across both cameras lenses here. So you'll want to get outside, but you'll also need to take those necessary summertime precautions. Drink plenty of fluids, of course, and wear lightweight clothing. I mean, this is not the time to start busting out those fall colors, the fall sweaters, the fall pants at all, because these numbers definitely record breaking, and it's so hot that you're definitely seeing plenty of records falling. Even just yesterday, take a look at Atlanta, Macon, Columbus, Montgomery, Tallahassee saw some old time records. I mean, take a look at Columbus, Georgia. You broke your record from 1904 yesterday. Previous record at 97. You broke it by 99. So big difference today. Well, as far as the temperatures, it's not going to be as hot, but we're still seeing this trend of 90-degree days still lingering with us this season and this year overall. We've seen a record number of 90-degree days in Montgomery, 121. Record is 129. Savannah, Atlanta, Wilmington, and Nashville. At Nashville, you're tied for number 1 in that spot. So as we continue the forecast through today, plenty of locations across the eastern seaboard in the danger zone to see your records falling. Focusing in on the southeast, yeah, we're still looking at those 90s, flirting near 100 degrees at Montgomery, 93 for Tallahassee, 94 for Columbia, and 95 degrees for Nashville. So you'll definitely need to keep that summertime clothing out and available. I mean, you'll definitely need it. Something else that we also need in the southeast is some rain. In fact, Atlanta, we haven't had much rain at all. In fact, just the 17th of this month, we had 0.21 inches, and that was the wettest day of the entire month. We're already here at the 28th. We had a trace just on the 10th. So we definitely have those drought conditions still lingering across the southeast. Bullseye right over Atlanta. We even have a little red spot just south of Birmingham. But over the next several days, oh, Paul, we don't have that much luck, do we? We have up to an inch in some spots, and we need a little bit more to tick away at those drought conditions.
Yeah, it just keeps getting drier and drier and hotter. Well, hey, take a live look at Harrisburg, Pennsylvania this morning, where some strong storms could be rolling on through as we head into this evening. The sun is going to shine for much of today. It looks like we got some little bit of clouds out there right now, but look for temperatures to be back into the 80s as some of those early showers are giving you a few clouds. But overall, the heat is on and popping across the region. Here's our forecast highs across much of the Northeast, back in the 80s, even 90 in D.C. But I tell you what, we potentially have more records. Every dot here is a potential record we could tie or set today because of this nonstop ridge kind of heating us up here. In fact, look at this. Harrisburg, 87 is the record. Our forecast is 88 degrees. Even getting warm in D.C., 90 is the forecast, 91 is the record, so getting pretty close. Here's our high pressure dominating our skies here, especially across the southeast and the mid-Atlantic, and some of that pushes back into the northeast as we head into this week. Can't rule out another 90 for New York City as we head into this week. But again, more dots here, more potential record highs for Monday. One city, Pittsburgh, look at this, average high is 70. We're well above that, 10, 15 degrees above. Almost 19 as we head on towards Tuesday. Then look at this, we're cooler. Let's bring in Dr. Greg Postel. So Dr. Postel, we see the cooler weather in the forecast. Is this finally a break in this heat?
Yes, but it's not going to come for everybody, unfortunately, Paul. It is looking like the end of the heat is in sight for many east of the Rockies as we head toward the end of next week. But we've got to get rid of this ridge that is in the southeastern United States. If you look right now on the upper level weather charts, what we've got is a big trough in the west where it's actually pretty chilly. And that dips across the northern plains and then moves about like that. So when you have a jet stream that's shaped like that, you know that on the south side of it, certainly this time of year, it is going to be really hot. And we actually have that in play for days yet to come for many. And in fact, I think that next week we will see some all-time October record highs busted. That is remarkable. This historic heat wave will continue for days yet to come. Look at the numbers right now. Right across the southeast, it's almost 80 this morning already in Cincinnati, almost 80 in Atlanta. Of course, it is nice and cold on the north side of that jet stream. If you can get on the north side of that jet, much relief is in store. And if you look at the forecast going forward, I think late next week, we will start to see that ridge getting cracked. In other words, we will start to see little dips in the jet stream come in and one by one eat away from north to south that heat ridge. So it is going to get cooler from north to south as we head through next week. So the farther north you are, the sooner it's going to come. The farther south you are, unfortunately, the longer the heat is going to last. Maybe that makes sense normally. But Let's have a look at Cincinnati, for example. When I talked about next week having all-time record highs busted in a lot of locations in the East, you got it. Cincinnati, the warmest it's ever been in any day in October, 91 degrees. October 1st, on Tuesday, Cincinnati, we're going 95, and that's not just the end. There's going to be a lot of other cities that have that kind of heat next week. But next weekend, the northern half of the country, let's say north of I-70, you cool down a lot. That's good news. Liana, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Dr. Postel. We're still ahead on Weekend Recharge.
It might be right time to break out the boots and scarves. We'll talk about the cool down coming.
Let's get down to business. The business of hard work, hustle, and high fives. Modernized comfort inns and suites have been refreshed because our business is you. Get the lowest price guaranteed on all Choice Hotels when you book direct at choicehotels.com.
Never Ending Pasta Bowl is back at Olive Garden, starting at $10.99. Come in for over 100 combinations of pastas, sauces, and toppings, with everyone's favorite chicken Alfredo, plus unlimited salad and breadsticks, only for a limited time at Olive Garden.
Geico makes it easy to get help when I need it. With licensed agents available 24/7, it's not just easy. It's having Jerome Bettis on your flag football team easy. Go get him, Bus!
Ooh. Come on, Bus. Come on. Hey, wait. I'm glad I got the flag. I got your flag. I'm glad I got your flag.
It's Geico Easy, with licensed agents available 24/7.
49-0.
They're America's biopharmaceutical researchers, pursuing life-changing cures in a country that fosters innovation. Here, they find breakthroughs, like a way to fight cancer by arming a patient's own T-cells. Because it's not just about the next breakthrough, it's all the ones after that.
This is my absolute favorite.
The cat is like reaching for the handle.
It's got the accents of gold. The beloved trolley.
Sometimes you have to say, like, do it again.
Good on you for sporting a look that moves without stretching your wallet. Now being comfortable is even easier with sport coats starting at $99.99, shirts and pants 3 for $99.99, plus our designer suit event starting at $149.99. Only at Men's Warehouse.
If you live with diabetes, why fingerstick when you can scan? With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, just scan the sensor with your reader, iPhone, or Android and manage your diabetes. With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, a continuous glucose monitor, you can check your glucose levels anytime without fingersticks. Ask your doctor to write a prescription for the Freestyle Libre 14-day system. You can do it without fingersticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
What will you do when the power goes out? Power outages can be unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life. But with a Generac home standby generator, your life goes on, uninterrupted, because you'll have power when you need it the most.
24 days we were without power. I had water, I had ice, I had coffee, I had air conditioner. I was able to stay here because of the Generac.
Get the safety, security, and peace of mind your family deserves with a home standby generator from Generac. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac, with thousands of satisfied customers.
Very good product. Very, very good reviews from everybody.
Prices start at just $19.99. And special financing is available with surprisingly affordable monthly payments. Call now to schedule your free in-home assessment, and you'll receive a 7-year extended warranty absolutely free. That's a $695 value. Call or go online today. Power your life with Generac.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat.
We are live on the ground. Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
Well, this is the first full weekend of fall, so it should be, right? Should feel like fall. We'll tell that to parts of the east here. Cities like Cincinnati and Birmingham, they are still sweating to summer-like temperatures just days before the month of October begins. Over 80 million Americans across the South and the East are dealing with temperatures at or above 90 degrees this weekend. So yeah, okay, we get it. It doesn't feel like fall right now at all, but that doesn't mean you still can't enjoy that fall feeling anyway, and all the activities that goes along with it, including pumpkin patches. They are rolling out the hay and the cider despite the heat going on here. And families are headed out this weekend for sure to kick off the season. In fact, this weekend is the grand opening of the Yule Forest Pumpkin Patch in Stockbridge, Georgia, which is just south of Atlanta. And joining us live via Skype this morning are Alan Grants and Ara Thomas from the Yule Forest. Thanks for joining us, guys. Good morning to you. So let's talk about this blue sky. You guys are in t-shirts here. It's going to be in the 90s again today. So how is this heat affecting the pumpkins at your patch?
Oh, good morning and happy fall to everybody. The pumpkins are great in the patch this year. We have had to do a lot of irrigation. Here at the farm, we've only logged in an inch of rain in 90 days. But we have been pumping 30,000 gallons of water every day into the pumpkin patch, into our Christmas tree farm.
Oh yeah, you got the next season coming up as well. Well, let's talk about this heat here. Do you think people and families will still want to head out to the patch, even though it's perhaps a better time to be spent at the pool this time of the year?
Oh yeah, I tell you, everybody is excited about fall and the leaves starting to change, and everybody is anticipating the first cold front, which we haven't had yet, and you guys are aware of that. But the anticipation of it, and people they're looking for a place to come, and even though it's hot, we have a lot of shady places in the trees and around the farm that they can get out of the heat, still ride the hay rides and do all the functions.
So people are probably out there trying to pick that perfect pumpkin for the Halloween coming up. So how will you help people stay cool as they tour the patch this weekend?
So we have a lot of shaded areas. We have some concessions to make sure that people stay hydrated. And again, the shaded areas and all the tents and stuff will make it to where it's a little bit easier to deal with the heat.
So you guys have a pumpkin patch for sure, but there's not just that. There's other activities. What else you guys are planning for today's grand opening?
So for a grand opening and every day, we have our fun zone. That's all of our bouncy houses for kids of all ages. We also have our hay maze. We have our hay ride that takes you around our farm and drops you off at our petting zoo, and you can see all the animals. We also have our garden area, our brand new Evolution of Farming Center, and that's where we talk about how we went from hunter-gatherers to where farmers going in the future. It's pretty cool.
So how late are you open? Because perhaps people want to come by when the sun is a little lower in the sky, a little cooler out there.
The pumpkin patch closes at 6 every day.
Okay.
But that's the weekends. But on the
weekends,
on the weekdays, it's open from 4 to 7.
All right. Well, Alan Grant and Ara Thomas with Yule Forest Pumpkin Patch, thanks for joining us this morning. Well, let's talk about the reason why we have so much heat. We have, yes, a little trough in the west. They are getting a taste of fall, maybe even winter in some locations, but high pressure is still dominating our weather here across the southeast, mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley, parts of the southern plains in Texas, into the northeast as well. So I tell you what, when we do find our first big-time front of the year, it's going to be a shock to the system where the temperatures fall after that. But as I said, we have yet to see our first fall front across the southeast, but it could be a different story across the northeast. And also out towards the west, Liana, they're feeling fall, maybe even winter right now.
Yeah, it feels like it jumped a whole other season. In Missoula, Montana, you're getting a taste of winter. It's coming a little early to the west. Now, along with snow, this major fall snowstorm in September will bring on the wind. We do have some strong wind gusts over the next 48 hours, damaging winds expected across the entire region. In fact, gusts up to 50 miles per hour already happening at Glacier Park International Airport. We do have winter storm watches as well as warnings that are already in effect, and they will go in effect for Missoula into the overnight period. So here's the story. We do have quite a bit of action. Yeah, we totally sped through fall, and now we're in winter across the northern Rockies. Great Falls, Spokane, Salmon, you're looking at West Yellowstone, Jackson, Bozeman, you're all in the snowy part of this mess. And the valleys, we do have some solid chances of rain, but it's really the higher terrain where we're dealing with quite a bit of snow. Our snow rates 1 inch per per hour. So it's really coming down. You can even see it in those darker shades of blue just right over into Montana and Idaho. So this is the case. We have this disturbance that's going to dive south, bringing in some cooler air, some colder air, and also that threat for snow. We also have some moisture that's going to be drifting in from the plains, from the Midwest. It's going to be overriding this area, feeding into all that moisture and feeding into all that dry air, bringing in that threat for more snow. So with that said, we aren't just talking about just an inch of snow. We're talking about feet of snow. And this is going to be the scenario. And unfortunately, because of the location of where this low pressure system is and the high pressure way up into Canada is, this is going to be the zone where we have strong, strong winds when we get this tightly packed isobars in there. Those are the white lines in there. So through this weekend, snow and wind, blowing snow, that's not going to be a huge concern unless you go up to the higher elevations. However, you do need to take the necessary precautions because a lot of these passes, they can kind of get the wind funneling through, especially through the gorge in Oregon right there. And you can see some really strong winds come out of this. So 10 a.m. Mountain Time tomorrow, tomorrow morning, we're looking at quite a bit of snow drifting up Helena, Billings. You get a little bit of a break, but then it starts to really fill back in and become more sporadic, especially towards northern Montana into Monday morning. So we still have some tough times ahead. And like I mentioned, we are not just talking about an inch or two of snow. We're talking about feet of snow, especially way up north, Paul. In other locations, 5 to 8 to 12 inches.
Well, still ahead this morning on Weekend Recharge, some people are going to get the chance to fish for free. We'll show you where you can drop a line in the water without a license this weekend.
Budget meeting.
Sweet.
You compare last quarter to this quarter.
It's no wonder everything seems a little better with the creamy taste of Philly, made with